Hey y'all, it's Sarah, and this evening we are working on something fun. So I'm hanging out, playing with some things, and I wanted to share something a little different with you on using your resin. And maybe you can see my main example right here. Now, I don't know if you guys see if I can find something to tap on that so you can hear it. And let's talk about it because I used it here. And I gave myself some fluffy icing here and some fluffier whipped cream here. You can use it as sour cream. You can use it all kinds of fun way. You can use it with a color resin so that you have frosting or icing that's a little fluffier instead of as clear and liquidy as just your resin. Let's jump in. I'm super excited to share this with you. And I'm just going to make another pie, and I'm using a bottle cap that I smashed the edges down. Now you can use your mini verse pie, one of these guys. This is my only one, and I've been a little ridiculous about wanting to use it because it's the only one I have. So I'm just making something in a bottle cap with my mini verse resin. You can see I'm going to be using clear, and I've got just a cap on one of the containers, the packaging, so that I can mix in. And I'm going to pour my clear resin in, and I've got a little bit already mixed in, but hopefully you can see, maybe you can see the amount of clear resin I have in there. And like I said, I'd already mixed some of this. And here is the fun little secret: shaving cream. So we're going to do a little bit at a time and start mixing it around in your resin. Now this batch is shiny already. You can kind of see it's got like this frosting-like consistency. If you don't mix it in good enough, it's not going to harden fully for you. It's almost going to be rubbery. So you got to play with your consistency. You can do it with color resin and get different color frostings. You could end up with chocolate or strawberry or any kind of frosting you wanted to make, just depending on which resin you throw in there. And if you're wanting it a little more flat, right, a little more flat in color so that it's not quite resin level fluffy shiny, I've got just my baking soda again. If you've watched some of the other videos, I'm just pinching it and adding a couple of pinches in there to mat that down. And I'm gonna stir that in. If you can make something tiny to pipe it with, all the better for you. I've just been using a toothpick to kind of goop it on. So I want to make sure I've got all the different stuff mixed in. And I'm going to put it in my makeshift pie pan here. I spray painted all of these silver, by the way. These were random bottle caps that my friend had been collecting, which is why it's dented, because she said they opened theirs with a bottle opener. And so they're a little dented. It's okay. Once I get everything in there, I think it'll be fine. You don't notice it. I'm coming in with a toothpick now that I've got it kind of walloped on there. And the fun thing is you can absolutely move this around, because until you cure it, you have playtime. So I'm pushing it up to the edges a little more than I did with my other one, I think. Once I looked at it, I felt like I should have come a little closer to the edges. So now that I've got it spread out fairly equally, I started putting my little peaks in, and I just kept repeating that until I had them spaced out nicely. You can just see, pull them little peaks up. And then I'm going to run it through my light a couple of times, especially since it's pretty thick and this is not see-through. It's going to take a few tries. So now my pie is like that. I'm coming in with my handy dandy Dollar Tree light furniture marker, and I did not get my peaks as good as I could have. I'm gonna go around some of these edges and tap a little marker on there. I'm gonna hit some of those peak points. And just pop that on there. Just wherever I see a lifted type bump area. A little more around these edges. I got a little overspill there, so figured that's as good a spot as any to try to crisp those edges up. And then to add a little more color, I'm just going to brush a little on. Now, you can always use something like this. You guys recognize what this is. This has got some really nice neutral browns, but it does have a little bit of shimmer to some of them, so you have to look for that. You can use just plain artist chalks like these, or artist pastels like these. And this one has kind of this yellowy color. I think I'll tap a little of that somewhere along those peaks. Maybe a little around that edge. Hopefully you can see that. It's pretty subtle, but... And I decided, since I did not get my peaks super well and I already have like one meringue, I thought I would pull out little half lemons from one of the kits. And just using some of the resin cream in here, I'm going to grab one of these lemons out. And I'm just going to dip it down in my fluffy resin a little bit. Pop that somewhere on the top. And just, I'm going to grab, to make sure it's standing upright, I'm just going to grab my little handy dandy light here. And kind of quickly zap that into place if I can. That way I have a lemon meringue pie. And just a regular one. Let's see if it's in its place. Oh yeah. See, you can see that it still works like a resin. It may take you a little practice. Don't sweat it. Just make a little bit at a time. Maybe do your practice. I was doing my practice ones. Just using it as a little dollop on the top of things. That way, if it didn't work out and it didn't harden, I could wipe it off pretty easily. So I started off practicing my consistency that way to make sure that I got the mixture correctly enough to get it to actually harden. And that worked out for me to just practice that way and not really waste anything. But you can always practice a little bit before taking it onto a bigger project. But I thought this was a really good one because it's not wasting really anything that that come out of my supplies other than the little lemon slice and the clear resin. And I did learn a lot, and I think it's super handy to know that you can do this, because there's so many other ways I think it can be used with desserts and icing and frosting and ice creams and whipped creams and meringues and just all kinds of ways that I feel like you could use this to add details, or maybe even extend a little bit of your resin and get a little more out of your resin. You could also probably do the very same thing with puffy paints. However, this almost has a fluffier look than what you would get with a puffy paint, and it's definitely lighter than waiting for a puffy paint to harden layer by layer to get it that thick. So I thought it was kind of fun. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it, and I'll share more soon. Bye, y'all.